Islamic Republic of Iran is a dictatorship?
I do. I believe the regime is a dictatorship, and I think it's becoming even more of one. In fact, I think it is moving toward being a military dictatorship. I heard recently the idea that there wouldn't even be an elected president, that the system would be changed. There is a great deal of sadness on my part when I look at the strength and resilience of the Iranian people, the creativity, the intellect, the history and culture, and see the very narrow-minded and unfortunately oppressive regime that is trying to control what the Iranian people do. Certainly speaking for our government, wants a conflict, but we do want to influence and hopefully change the behavior of the regime. And I want to remind us that the strongest sanctions were adopted by the United Nations when it became abundantly clear that the regime is pursuing a nuclear weapons program. Everyone believes that the covert actions, the covert facilities, the misleading information is part of an attempt by the regime to acquire nuclear weapons, which would be very destabilizing. And in the face of that kind of evidence, the entire international community, including traditional partners of Iran, have said we have to do something.
Yeah.
So the sanctions are necessary, and we do want to do them in a way that doesn't impose suffering on the people of the country. But we are trying, as President Obama said he would, to follow a two-track approach. We have tried to negotiate. We have tried to engage. We've made it very clear that Iran is entitled to civilian nuclear energy power, but not nuclear weapons. And so we've tried to engage and have not yet been successful. You mentioned some that people are talking about, the central bank, for example. We also have seen a disturbing trend of the Iraqi Revolutionary Guard Corps becoming more and more involved in the economy of the country, the Quds Force and other elements of the security establishment, taking financial stakes or taking over certain economic enterprises. That's part of what I mean about our seeing that there seems to be a moving toward a more military takeover in effect inside Iran. We're also designating individuals who we get enough evidence on as human rights abusers, because we want to call them out by name. I understand people questioning it because it was such a shocking plot. It was shocking to us when we uncovered it. But we have very strong evidence, and some of that is already publicly available. And we have evidence both from the defendant, the Iranian American who was picked up by our law enforcement, who provided a lot of information that verified what we knew about the plot. We have it from the informant, the Mexican drug gang member that he tried to hire, the Iranian American tried to hire to be the hitman. There are a lot of telephone communications and other information. We have corroborative evidence, such as $100,000 that was wired in at the request of the defendant to pay the down payment to the hitman. So we have a lot of information that is very strong. It's a strong criminal case. And again, we were concerned about it because certainly we don't want the ambassador of any country targeted on our property for assassination. But it also violates rules that Iran agreed to in the International Convention for the protection of diplomats against crimes. And we would like Iran to conduct and participate in a UN investigation. We would like Iran to get to the bottom of this. We would like Iran's government to turn over the second defendant, who is a member of the Quds Force. I also would remind people that this is not the first time we know that elements within the regime have committed actions outside the country. You know personally, those of you who are living inside Iran, what the instruments of the state security system are capable of doing to Iranian citizens. But they've also taken action in other countries as well. So it shouldn't be that big a surprise, and the evidence is very strong. Is still going on. I'm sure he knows that the European Union conducted a very thorough assessment and concluded there was no recent evidence. And under the laws of placing groups or individuals on terrorist lists, there has to be a continuing assessment. Is there current evidence? And the European Union concluded there was not, so they removed MEK from the list. We're still assessing the evidence here. That we want to unleash the potential that exists within you. We would like to see your regime change. We would like to see your government begin to support, first and foremost, the human rights and aspirations of yourselves. And we would very much like to improve relations, to move away from the past. We think that there are reasons for regret on both sides as to what has happened in the past 50 years. But we would like to forge a new relationship. President Obama was very committed to doing that. So far, he hasn't received a particularly positive response. So what we're going to do, despite the fact we do not have diplomatic relations, is I'm going to announce the opening of a virtual embassy in Tehran. The website will be up and going at the end of the year.